Roland Willits, All Men's Stories. Maybe I can get a hook into this story.
Yes.
Okay, take it away.
I noticed as I walked through life, because I already started, that things seem to even themselves out somehow. Now, I'll go back and forth on a couple of stories. I love to hunt. And I love to go squirrel hunting. And I also love to go rat hunting. And you do that in dumps. And they are a nuisance, so you're justified. And I love to fish. And I do great fishing. I've caught some big fish. Well, my cousin and I, my farmer cousin from up in northern Minnesota, he and I went down to the dump. And as we were going down to the dump, I looked at a lake and I remembered back when I was young when I was fishing. And I saw two guys fishing there. And one was casting, and I looked, and he was a little wild. And I thought, I hope he's careful. Because I remember back on Nokomis Lake in South Minneapolis, where I was casting. And I was casting, and my neighbor, Gene Cragness, was sitting there, and he was fishing. He says, "What's out with that hook?" And he says, I said, "Oh, watch out." And I took a cast, and I caught him right on the back of the head with one of the big hooks in a multi-hook lure. And it stuck right in there. And I said, "Gene, let's go to the doctor." He says, "No, my dad would kill me if I did that." And I looked and I said, "Oh, geez, what am I doing?" He says, "Here's my knife. Cut out around the hook." And I cut it around. I says, "It's inside and I can't pull it out." He says, "Push it through." I says, "Oh, God, you want me to?" He says, "Push it through." So I took the hook and I pushed it through. He says, "Now, keep bending the end till it breaks." So I kept going with the sharp part back and forth with the little, it's got a little thing on it where the hook can't come back out again. And I kept pushing it back and forth and back and forth. I had actually a little pliers with me. I just kept going, and it broke. And then he said, "Pull it out." And I pulled it out. And then I proceeded to get a whole bunch of words at me. I felt so bad about that hook. Oh. Well, as we went down the road, we went in to the dump. And I looked around and I says, "Where are the rats?" He says, "There's one." And my cousin's name is Dean Boucher. French. A lot of Frenchmen in northern Canada, or northern Minnesota. French Canadians. And anyway, Dean and I went out. We had our .22s. And we started shooting the rats, and all of a sudden, oh, boy, it hurt my cheek. I didn't know where the pain came from. And I was shot right at a rat. And I think that rat came up and looked and smiled at me as it started to bleed. And I just wiped it off. I said, "It doesn't hurt too bad." So we kept shooting a little while longer, and then we took off, and it started bleeding again. I got home, and they made us go to the doctor. Well, in going to the doctor, I went by one of the big lakes in Minnesota, and I looked out and saw some fishermen fishing. And I remembered many years later where I was out fishing on Leech Lake with my brother Dave. Yeah, we were fishing and Dave was casting. And I remembered Gene Cragness's cast. And I said, Dave, watch out. He got nothing, I can do it great. I yelled. He caught me on the back of the head with a hook. And I said, Dave, he said, I'll pull it out. I said, no, you won't. I said, I'm going into the hospital with this sucker. You're not going to rip that thing out of my head because that's got that barb that goes backwards. So we just cut it off. And I think it was a little revenge because about 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, I cast out and a seagull came down and grabbed my hook and got it caught in its beak. And I thought it would be real easy. I just pull it in and unhook the hook from the seagull and throw it away. Those things are vicious. That seagull got scratches all over my arm. We finally got it. We pushed the hook through and snapped off the hook and put it back and send the seagull up. But I wasn't about to have that happen to my head. And there I was with all these scratches, with a hook in my head, walking into the hospital. And I looked a mess. And the doctor came out and he looked and they did a real good job. They took all the hair out from that part of my head. I don't have to worry anymore now. I don't have much hair anymore, but I did then. And they cut it out and they pulled it out and they cut it off and they pulled it back and put some antiseptic on. And I'm sure wherever Gene Cragness was, something made him laugh at that moment. Well, we kept driving back in. We're driving back in. And I said, I've shot rats all my life. And boy, I guess revenge is sweet. I don't know what happened. We went in. We went to the doctor and he looked at it and he says, you just got a little slicer. I don't think anything wrong. But let's just take an x-ray. So they took an x-ray and he came back in and said, you have a 22 flattened out, lodged against your cheek. It was just inside, it went in like the edge, like an edge of a penny, and then flattened out on the inside of my cheekbone. Didn't break anything. But it was about a little over a ½ inch from my eye, right below my eye. And I still, if I squint a little, you can see the little mark there. And he took that out and put antiseptic on it. And I said, there we go. The rats got their revenge. Everything sort of evens itself out in life. Thank you.
Now, that...
Old Men Stories, returning home. Roland Willits.